Oh, man. 1 week from tonight, we've got a college football playoff game. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. That's the aim. That's the goal. And that is the mission. And it's up to you as well. So it's not just up to me. Best conversation in the chat. I say that all the time on the videos. So please make it as such. Appreciate you being here. Comments and questions are welcome. Super chats available. We got to get back to maybe a grassroots effort sort of here, because I don't know that YouTube really helps us out that much. So we would like to grow and build the audience, obviously. So I don't know how many people are going to join us tonight. We've got the feed going on Twitter as well. X. Probably never stop calling it Twitter, myself and others, but it's on X right now. I will probably cut it off if I remember, which most likely I won't, but should cut that off in the next 10 or 15 minutes. So I'll let you folks that are watching on X, which is typically more people than watch us on YouTube, which makes no sense, shouldn't happen. It's a vehicle in which we try to spread the show, get this show more exposure for people out there on Twitter that don't join us on the regular basis here on YouTube, but to say, hey, this is a way to say we're here. You probably don't know about us. So come on in, join us on YouTube, join the chat. That way you can interact with other college football fans and help us grow and build the channel. And then we're going to say, see ya, cut the feed and adios. And that's the way we should do it. And that's the way I will do it tonight, if I so remember in the next 10 or 15 minutes. So if you're watching on X, please join us on YouTube. All right, a few things come to mind, then I'll take some calls. I'm not going to go too in-depth on any one of these subjects, even though our thumbnail and our title point to the most special game in college football. All right. The best game in college football, obviously, has yet to be played. We have to watch all the games and then say that was the best game. So I don't know what the best game was this year. Maybe we will rank the games. I don't know that we've done that in the past. Rank like the top 50 college football games of the year. We should do that at the end of the season. So, Appalachian State and Troy could be the best game of the year. We have to watch them play. We have to actually watch the game. Now, the best matchup, then that's something else. That could have been Ohio State, Texas at the time, could have been the number one matchup. The number one rivalry, we could have an argument, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Auburn. I don't know that there's really too much Oklahoma, Texas. Those are probably the only ones that have a reasonable argument. I, of course, believe it's Ohio State, Michigan without a doubt, but best rivalry, there you go. One of those three, probably. This game, though, that we're talking about on Saturday, and I know that there's a bowl game later in the afternoon, and it's actually a reasonable bowl game. It's actually a decent game or a decent matchup. We don't know if it's going to be a decent game. Decent matchup with Washington and Boise State. I like that little matchup right there. They actually played in 2019, which was Chris Peterson's final game at Washington. Chris Peterson, one of the most underrated, I believe, great coaches in modern college football history. His last game against Boise State, Washington won big in the same bowl game, I believe the Las Vegas Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. I know that game was in the Las Vegas Bowl. I don't know what Washington and Boise State are playing in Saturday, although that does remind me that I've got to make a prediction on the game. So I will do that after the show. So it's bowl season. Hey, I've got an outstanding bowl record, so lock in on the bowl picks. We'll figure out how we're going to do that. I certainly want to honor the folks over on Patreon that are contributing there with the bowl selections. But I'll probably give a freebie out on Saturday for Washington and Boise State. I will not predict the Army-Navy game. So I just wanted to give salute to our veterans, our servicemen, servicewomen. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much for your service, your sacrifice. It's incredible. None of us who never were in the military can in any way relate to the sacrifice, the service, the dedication. I have always said from a football standpoint that I am amazed that this is probably arguably the greatest accomplishment of any football team. I don't care if it's an undefeated national championship team. I don't care if it's considered one of the greatest of all time. I don't care if it's 2019 LSU or 2020 Alabama or 1995 Nebraska, or it's the greatest program of all time, whether you think that's Alabama or Ohio State or whomever. The greatest accomplishment in college football is arguably when these service academies just step on the field every Saturday. Like, this is one of the least important things that they do all week. It's just seen by more people than anyone else. It's just seen by 50,000 people in the stands, and depending on the opponent, a couple million possibly watching on television, and then highlights. So it gets seen by a lot of people, millions easily, at least taking the highlights when they step on the field. But this is minuscule compared to their responsibility off the football field. While we, in a sense, and I want to remove myself from this next statement, idolize these 18 and 19-year-old kids that play football, and that's like their focus all week, playing football. This is like the most important thing. This is their identity, playing football. And I commend those that come out, whether that's in the college ranks or later, as NFL players, and say, you know what, I'm a football player. It's extremely important to me. Trevor Lawrence made this statement not too long ago, and so did Baker Mayfield. I'm a football player. I love playing football. I give it my best. I give it my all. I love it. I'm dedicated to it. I work hard at it, but it's not, that doesn't define me. It's not who I am. And then people gasp, like Trevor Lawrence. He's not as dedicated as Tom Brady. Tom Brady has admitted in the past, I won a Super Bowl. Once I won like 4 or 5. I'd win that like 4th or 5th Super Bowl. And I'd kind of sit back and say, is this all there is? Like, this really didn't fulfill me, didn't make me content. You know, I won another Super Bowl and I was kind of like, is this it? Really? So let's put things in perspective. Yeah, the Army-Navy game, I am not going to say, even though it's my intent, it seems every year to watch the Army-Navy game, I will have to admit I have a sporadic record at actually watching the game. I don't know the last time. I'm sure when I was a kid, I was watching start to finish. Now, I exchanged some posts and messages and replies with somebody on X last night, because I'm not going to go through the back and forth, but I think I misread their original post where I thought that they were calling it genius playing Army and Navy on a separate weekend by themselves on a separate Saturday. Like that this season was something that had never been done before. And I was pointing out to him, possibly erroneously, didn't clear this up because the wording on the post was a bit vague, that, okay, this has been going on for years and years and years. And if anything, it's being violated this year by being played at the same time as a bowl game, on the same day as a bowl game. That shouldn't happen. I believe that this game should be played. You know what? Clear the deck. Pardon the pun. Clear the deck. Don't play any other football games on this day. Give it to these guys. And I know that many of you would be like, well, I'd rather watch a game at night and another game during the day. And this turns out to be a 40-7 game, then it was a waste. And that's the only football we get. You know what? Live with it. That's my opinion. Give these gentlemen the honor of being the only football game in America on this day. That's what I would do. Again, it looks like we need a commissioner of college football, and I really don't want the job, but man, if somebody's got to take it, the sport becomes more and more of a mess all the time. You know, we get news every day. It's like this sport, once they step off the field on Saturday afternoon and before kickoff, everything else sucks about the sport. Everything sucks about this sport, is horrible, except for the product on the field. And that's not great because it's like perfect football. It's not the NFL. It's not great football, much of it. It's intense, it's suspenseful, it's got tradition, pageantry, it's got history, it's got all these great elements. But man, we've got freaking morons trying to mess it up, and they're doing a good job, but we still watch it. And it looks like we need a commissioner, and no, I'm not up for the job, but sometimes I think I could take it on. Anybody could take it on and do better, or at least a number of people could. All right, so that's one thing. So we can, of course, talk about anything that you'd like to. Bowl games, college football playoff. Knowing human nature, I'm guessing that people want to talk about Sharon Moore. I don't know what else to talk about there, but certainly we can talk about anything under the guise of college football. But Army, Navy should be by itself. It's a special game. It's different than any other game. It actually irritates me when I see lists of rivalry games, and that's included. You know, it might be number one, or it might be the games that involve more NFL players, which would be every other rivalry game, but they sandwich it in like number 4, Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, Auburn, Army, Navy. No, it doesn't belong in those lists. It's completely different. These men are just, the football game is just special. It's different because of the obvious. It should not be ranked along with the other knuckleheads that are playing just for football. No, special. And if there's anyone in the chat who is served, we thank you. Adam's here. Thank you, Adam. Adam, I believe, is bucking for a sponsorship of the show, which leads me to, if any of you have any connection with anyone who would like to sponsor the show, we would do everything we possibly can. We have never had a sponsor on this network, which we've probably had 15 or 20 on the main channel here. It's been a while, but we've had 15 or 20 on the main channel. We've had sponsors on the Michigan channel and currently do. They've been on the Iowa channel, the Nebraska channel. They have always been satisfied. We do everything possible to please our sponsors and let them know that they are going to get everything plus. So if you own a business, or if you're connected to anyone who owns a business, we believe that we can deliver a target audience for you. So please let us know. Hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. MarkRogersTV at Gmail. So Adam says, I was just basically going to say Adam's sponsoring the show at this point. Adam, thank you so much for your contributions. Mark, Sharon Moore is allowed to love, and he found love with his soulmate, Paige. I hope this is sarcastic. It is disgusting that the legal system is punishing love. You have failed to call out this injustice because you don't like Michigan. All right, I'm going to take that as a huge tongue-in-cheek. Yes, he found love. Yes, he found love. How we confuse lust and love in this society. Yes, he found lust. He found lust, as all of us have at some point. Some of us know how to act upon that, or fail to act and be disciplined, or take the steps prior to protect the people that we apparently love. Forget the wife for a second. Forget her, which we shouldn't. She is the biggest victim in all of this by far, but the children, because they're innocent, quote unquote. We'll not go into a spiritual dissertation on that, but innocent in comparison. He should love them. He should love his wife first and foremost. That's biblical. Then the kids second. But he obviously did not love them. So it's a sad situation. I just had a conversation with two different people today that didn't give me tales similar to this, but yeah, some sordid kind of situations that they've been involved in or been the victim of. Crazy, horrible, disgusting. This is evil when it comes down to it. That's the epitome of evil. Sharon Moore's actions were evil. They were evil. I hope he gets help. From a career standpoint, he has blown the best job he will ever hope, wish, dream, pray to get. And if I am wrong, so be it. I highly doubt it. But from a life standpoint, yes, what he did is pure evil. He needs serious emotional and mental help. And he also needs to pay for his crimes. All right, let's get to the calls. We got Real MVP stopping by. What's going on, Real?
Oh, nothing much, Mark. I mean, the Moore situation, just sad, and it keeps getting sadder. I saw on X, now it could be fake. There was a report that he allegedly DM'd a model just a few hours getting out after jail. So, he's just continues to make bad decisions. He just needs to be unplugged from the internet altogether, in my opinion. And then I saw on Fox News that the University of Michigan has confirmed that the girl is still on staff. Why in the world is she still allowed to be hired and working for the University of Michigan? Like, they both should be fired because they both did something that was wrong. It makes no logical sense for me.
Yeah, if he violated company policy, I would believe that she did as well, although maybe there are separate policies because he does have a position that requires more obligations and responsibility. Maybe others can date, but yeah. If the first item that you brought to our attention is true, let's just say if it is, that speaks to me of narcissist. Like, to do what he's done is just horrific, to hurt the people that he has hurt. You should, at this point, would just be in utter regret, remorse. Like, that speaks to, like, narcissists don't value other people. They don't consider their hurt, their pain, the pain that they've caused, and they just kind of continue on this rampage. So that's what that would speak to, if that in fact is true.
Yeah, it's I mean, he's making a lot of bad decisions and he isn't taking accountability, it seems like, based off the report. And it's just like a disaster. I saw Jim Harbaugh was asked about and he's still processing it. I mean, the whole to me, Jesse Minter and all those Michigan people, they just need a clean slate. And the name that's floating out there that's got a lot of smoke within the last hour or two is Kenny Dillingham, the Arizona State coach. I think he would be a fantastic hire. I haven't heard any problems out of Arizona State. He's a young coach. He can stay there a while, build a culture for Michigan, gain some of their reputation back in a positive direction. I think that's a home run hire for them and what they need. I think he checks marks every box.
So your first point is valid. Absolutely. And I failed initially to hit on that, although it crossed my mind later. So this obviously all came down. I went live, didn't even process replacements much. And then I went on over to the Michigan show. I was going to jump on. I didn't have time. I had the Miami show, but they were asking me to jump online. They were asking for replacements. Of course, you and I and others started a list. And, I threw out, because of the connection to the program, the success, and their success now in the NFL, some of those assistants, initially, without thinking, they just need to cut all ties to the Harbaugh regime. Just, yes, clean slate. None of those, even if one or two of them, again, I won't even go into they all had to be participants in the cheating. So yeah, gone. Yeah, we don't consider you. Kenny Dillingham. This is where the ascension from Arizona State to Michigan would be obvious. Like, oh, he would just be jumping at this job, and it would be a great hire for them. But you know what? This, considering what Michigan football has been and what the program has been off the field for the last 5 or 6, 7 years, he needs to go in there and make them convinced to him that they can run a good program, that they can have a strong athletic department with strong integrity and character and run a decent university. They need to, like, I'd be going in there saying, yeah, I understand that I'm coming from Arizona State, and normally under normal conditions, I would be like salivating to get this job, one of the storied programs of all time. But you know what? You need to show me that you've made amends, and I'm going to be surrounded by people that will not only support me with the resources I need to build a football program, but that I don't feel as though I'm in some kind of toxic culture that's been left over, or some of the people that were contributing, or at least allowing this type of behavior, are still here and have authority.
I absolutely agree. I heard, I think from the Monty show, it was reported that people are describing Michigan as radioactive. And I couldn't agree with that characterization more. Like, it's just a place where if you go, it seems like your career goes to die. Like, it's a horrendous cultural cesspit that is absolutely rotten to the core. And I mean, just think about all the scandals that have taken place in their last 4 years. I mean, their basketball head coach prior to Dusty May slapped a Wisconsin assistant in the face after during the handshake. And you have the whole cheating scandal. Santa Ono went from Michigan to Florida and got rejected. Like, it's just all a mess from the bottom to the top of their food chain. Like, I don't know how, if you're a Michigan fan, it's just not completely humiliating and embarrassing to be associated with that program. Like, I would be humiliated right now. I mean, I don't think of a fan base that could be in a realistically lower position for where they should be at in the sport.
Yeah, that's where, as a fan, so we all, as fans of college athletic teams, have incidents in, when I say we didn't contribute, we didn't have anything to do with it, but by attachment of being a fan, that are embarrassing. Like, certainly on the field, of course, but I'm talking off the field embarrassments. You could go to every university and say, this happened, that happened, this scandal, that cheating, something. You know, there's a few that it would be hard. I'd be hard pressed to come up with something at Wake Forest, for example, but we'll stick with the major brands. And so I don't think that any fan needs to take that on and say, well, I need to be embarrassed because I'm a Michigan fan, and look at them, and this reflects upon me. But at a certain point, I wonder, do you start to, and I've heard from Michigan fans and other fans of other college football teams, that when it piles on top of each other, that they start to become embarrassed and think, should I be rooting for this institution? Should I be rooting for this football program?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to the individual person, but
Yeah,
I would have a hard time rooting for my team if they did all this stuff. I mean, it would be. I
yeah.
mean,
Like, I can't be responsible for what happens at Ohio State University or within the football program. And there are individuals involved that I personally wouldn't like, or wouldn't think that they're the most upstanding people. Of course, there's 100 football players, and have they done things wrong? Yes, those sorts of things. But when it becomes like there's this culture and it's perpetuated and it goes on, yeah, I don't know. And I'm not answering that question for anyone and saying that they're wrong or they should root for somebody else. That's not what I'm saying. Just saying, at some point you think, okay, what am I rooting for here? Who am I rooting for? It's almost like supporting an actor or a singer that you enjoy, and then hearing, okay, they did this wrong. Okay, well, they're not
Yeah, it'd be like
perfect. I
supporting
understand.
Kanye West right now. That's what it'd be like.
Yeah, like at some point you determine, okay, everybody makes mistakes and theirs get highlighted and maybe blown out of proportion, but this person's maybe not a great person. And even though I enjoy their music, now it's tough to listen to their music because I associate it with the type of individual they are. Yeah.
Right. Mark, we do have 3 games on tomorrow, so I'll just ask for your quick thoughts on all of them. First one is South Carolina State is playing Prairie View A&M for the Black National Championship in the Cricket Bowl. Do you have any lean on the game whatsoever?
I've got to tell you that I knew that that game was being played. I did not know the participants. That's the game in New Orleans, right?
Yes.
They play in New Orleans. Of course, Deion Sanders' team won a couple of those recently. I have to say, there is nothing against those student athletes whatsoever. None. Please, no one read into this in any such way. It's hard for me to watch sporting events when I don't know the teams. I don't know the participants. I have no history. There's nothing there. Like, I don't watch the NFL right now, but I could turn on the Jets and the Bills, and I know the history of the two teams and everything pre 2020. Like, there's still an attachment there. So even though, and obviously I still know probably 20 players on the field, but I get more distant from it and there's less attachments, but still there's something. Like, I know nothing about these schools, what they've accomplished in the past. Yeah. Like, I was doing some work. I was on the phone with somebody for the last couple hours. I actually went to YouTube because I knew I wouldn't be able to listen to watch something on TV or YouTube or whatever and talk on the phone, that I could just watch something. I just started flipping in old football games. I was watching a 2009 bowl game, Nebraska and Clemson. That's the first thing I found. I just clicked it on, just let it roll. Like, I would rather watch that because I have a knowledge base there. So that's difficult for me. And I'm not, again, I hope nobody would read into that in any such way. It has nothing to do with that. It's just, I can't keep up with those schools and I don't know anything about them or who should win or anything. But congratulations to the winner. They win a championship. Okay. Game number 2.
It's Army Navy. It feels like we're due for the under to hit. It's been like an insane streak of just unders in that
Yes.
game. I think this might be the year because both teams, particularly Navy, has a pretty good passing offense this year, and it feels like they're getting away from the triple option. I know Navy upset at Army in a pretty surprising game last year, but do you think there's any chance for Army to win this year? It seems like Navy's clearly the better team in this game.
I'm intrigued by the streaks in this series. So most of my time growing up, Navy has been so much better than Army. I didn't know anything different. Obviously, Army is the more storied history going back to the 1940s national championships. But from the time I started watching in the late 70s, Navy was better for, oh my goodness, into the 2000s. Until Jeff Monken got there, I know that Navy would win. Ken Neo Matalolo, I haven't said that name in a long time, in a minute. He had a long streak of wins, and his predecessor, and then Jeff Monken had a nice run, and now Navy has bounced back. I really have no read on this game other than I know that Navy's supposed to win. They've had the better season. These teams are more comparable. What's interesting, and if I had the resources and the time to do it, actually, I don't know that anyone would watch this video. They obviously have a string of common opponents that they didn't really have in the past before Army joined the American Conference. And now that they play in the same conference, I know that they've made a stipulation if they would ever need to play in the conference championship game. Do you recall exactly what that is?
No, I don't. I
Yeah,
know
they've
it
made a
almost happened
stipulation.
last year.
Yeah,
Like,
they've cleared that hurdle if one or both of them would have to play in the conference championship game. But yeah, Navy's supposed to win the football game. Uh, I don't think that there are uh, a large amount of upsets in the history of this series. I think it's pretty standard. Like there's one or two every decade. Um, yeah, I hope to enjoy the game. I believe Navy should win the game. They're the better football team, but no, I would not be surprised in any such way. Do we know what the spread on this
I think
one?
it was 6.5 last I saw.
Okay.
Which for Army Navy isn't that surprising. It's that low of a spread because
Yeah.
there's going to be less possessions in this game. The clock's going to run basically. They're going to basically play with the running clock, with how many run plays they're going to be doing in this game. So
Exactly. Where's the game being played?
I do not know. Navy's listed as the home team. It opened up actually at 2.5, and it's been bet all the way up to 6.5. So that's a pretty large movement on the line itself.
They usually play at a neutral site. They've played in San Diego. They played in LA. They play a ton of games in Philadelphia, of course.
They played
Where?
one in Boston recently
Okay.
for the I think it was 250th anniversary for either Army or Navy, so they played a game or for the Revolutionary War. So they played one in Boston, Massachusetts recently.
They are playing in the home of the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. Good for them. Final game I'll ask you about is the Washington Boise State game. If the best game of the day in terms of what talent is on the field, I feel like Washington over the course of the season has just been proven the better team. Unless they play like they did against Wisconsin, I don't see them losing this game because Boise State to me is just not that good of a football team. They're probably like the 40th to 50th best team in the country. They're in the same range to me as Duke or Kennesaw State or some mid high tier G5 teams and some low to mid P4 teams. And I think Washington's just a tier above them this year. I don't think there's many opt outs in the bowl. Now, that could obviously have changed since yesterday since I looked at it, but I think they're basically going at full strength, these two teams. So, who do you got winning the Los Angeles Bowl?
Yeah, from a pure football standpoint, this is obviously the game with the most talent on the field, the best football teams. Washington's a 9.5-point favorite. The over-under is 52.5. You mentioned that Wisconsin game. Other than that, Washington has played an extremely consistent season. I expected them to compete better than they did against Michigan. That was a 3-turnover game. Michigan did outplay them in the big house. Difficult travel coming this to the Eastern time zone. But other than that, yeah, outside of the Wisconsin game, which I have no idea what happened other than they somehow lost a game in which the Wisconsin punter led the team in passing yardage. Yeah, Washington's a decent football team. Damon Williams is worth the watch. That's for sure. He's a really good one. And Denzel Boston, wide receiver, really good wide receiver. I think Jed Fish is an outstanding coach. Obviously, he's been talked about, connected to the Michigan opening. I know little about Boise State. I did see the debacle in week 1 against South Florida. I watched most of that game. That was a shocker. They were a 6-point favorite. They lost by 5 touchdowns. But in true Boise State fashion, they get off to a rough start, which rarely happens. They usually just post a sterling record, but they got off the deck and they closed out. This is fitting. They closed out their run in the Mountain West Conference with the championship. I need to go back and count their number of championships in the years that they played in this conference because it's a staggering amount of championships. They have owned this conference. Their quarterback, not coming up with his first name, Maddox, Mason Maddox. He's got a double M name. Obviously was playing secondary to Ashton Genty last year. Decent quarterback, runs, kind of looks like a Mark Gronowski kind of quarterback where he's not the most accurate, doesn't have the best passing talent for the next level, but he's a big guy, tough to bring down, runs, athletic for his size. And again, Boise State, I haven't seen him since that South Florida game, so I can't give you much of a scouting report, but I have seen Washington play. I saw the Michigan game, saw the Ohio State game, probably caught them somewhere along the line. They had a big comeback in Maryland. They were down by 3 scores in the fourth quarter, but obviously Maryland gives those games to everybody. So, yeah, I would expect Washington, if they're focused, if they're into this game and they're motivated, should win this game. They should win this game 34-20.
Yeah, the spread's been bet up to 10 for Washington. Yeah. So I expect Washington to win comfortably. This is the last version of the LA Bowl, which is a bit sad. We got one of the premier bowls that are going away, similar to the Bahamas Bowl. Not a major high level even within the bowl games, but a recognizable enough bowl and a fun bowl. Fun gimmick.
It's got like a 5-year history.
Yeah, I know, but they had celebrities and stuff do it. It's fun. Listen, bowl games are in a bad way right now, so anything you can do to stand out just a little bit.
They've had celebrities do what?
The LA Bowl. It was Gronk did it for a year. They had Jimmy Kimmel do the LA Bowl.
Well, that just means his name's on the bowl, right?
No, they would appear in person, do like the coin toss, and they would be in the announcer booth for a bit. You know. Yeah.
You hit a sore spot with Jimmy Kimmel.
I understand, but hey, at least it was different. I mean.
Yeah, sure. No, I just remember Jimmy Kimmel. He might have been the first one because I just attached his name to the game. I think he was the first one, if I recall.
I think so.
The first game was Oregon State in Florida. It was only like 4 years ago. They've only had this bowl game for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the last one, unfortunately. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, bowl games are going away. I think there's gonna be less bowl games. You might have to be 7-5 next year just based on how many's going away and canceled.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is. Shame to
I know.
Exclude 6 and 6 teams from bowl games.
Hey, listen, Mark. Okay, some of us struggle to get the 6 and 6 out here. Okay, some of us have a hard time getting to 6 and 6. It's a prestigious record to have in some conferences.
Don't tell that to Will Stein. I'm guessing that he's thinking big.
Yeah, he's thinking big, and then he saw that SEC schedule, and he got placed. Hey, congrats, your first ever SEC game. You get to play Alabama in 2026. So,
yeah, I need to look at those schedules. I'd like to do something on those.
Yeah, well, I'll just go through it real quick, just to tell you the gauntlet that, since we're doing the non-game, Kentucky's a good example of this. They play Alabama at A&M. At South Carolina, that's their easiest one. LSU, at Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, at Tennessee, Florida, at Missouri. So they play 7 of the top 20 teams in the country next year.
Now, when has Kentucky ever played anyone outside the conference that's any good except Louisville?
I think 2006 was the last time Kentucky.
2006!
Was the last time Kentucky played anybody. Yeah, they played Indiana. I think that's the last time they played anyone outside of Louisville that's in the Power 4.
I have no tolerance for that. But that just brings to mind when you say 9-game schedule that they will never schedule anyone now for sure.
Right. We're going to be struggling. 6 and 6 mark for us. It's going to be like a miracle season going forward. I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world out here in the SEC, and we're going to have a bunch of 9 and 3 and 10 and 2 teams get left out because you got to have room for Notre Dame level teams who beat absolutely nobody. But anyway, Mark, I'll get going. Hopefully, Sharon Moore loses his internet access. That's what I'll be praying for tonight, Mark.
I gotta hand it to Real. Maybe I need to hire him or something. He could be my first producer. Just for those taglines. That would be it. I'd say, can you write my closing tagline? Maybe for each topic, DeReal would write the closing tag for me. All right, we'll get to the calls. Time is short. I'm gonna number all the calls. I'm gonna divide it by the time left. Adam, thank you so much for the super chat contribution. Mark, do you believe in second chances? Yeah, I believe in the Bible. Therefore, I believe in second chances, third chances, fourth chances, fifth chances. Now, that doesn't mean that as humans, we need to be stupid and foolish and give people second chances. Just out on the street, murder 10 people, No. That's not what that means. We still protect the innocent. So that's kind of a spiritual matter that I believe in second chances. I believe in justice. If Moore shows real remorse, would you support him coaching again? Okay. I'm not big into feelings when it comes to things like this. There are a lot of great actors out there that show their remorse. No, he's going to have to prove it. Like, I don't have the answer for how to prove it, but he needs to show his regret, his remorse, here's a word you don't hear anymore, repentance. That means you turn around. That means you're going in the wrong direction. You're doing really stupid, asinine, moronic, evil things. That's your lifestyle. And then you turn around, do the opposite. Like, he'd have to show that for years. Because it's not about, okay, this dude's an accountant in the corner office and he did X, Y, and Z wrong. Okay, he regrets it, and we're going to punish him, penalize him. He has to kind of work to earn his way back, and then he gets to work with his laptop again. No, in this situation, he affects way too many people. He has leadership. How do you have leadership credibility unless, man, you need to work, show true remorse, repent, and work. And I'm not going to sit and make up what that means off the top of my head. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him that he's screwed up. He is seriously screwed up. Like, he's messed up. I don't know what his childhood was like. I don't know anything past that, but he has like serious, down deep problems. Like, to treat people like that. Wow. And one of the great characteristics of a leader would be discipline, and he shows no discipline. Because if you get discipline, okay, let's say you could care less about your wife, care less about your kids, you have no love for them, and it's all selfishness. You're Sharon Moore and you make $10 million a year. And even if you have no swag with any women within yourself, flash the money and the title and go get a woman on the side somewhere else. You have to be a complete moron. So this guy is not only mentally and emotionally disturbed, he's an idiot. Like, he is seriously a moron. Like, but again, it's the emotional and the mental instability that just clouded and completely usurped any reason that, you know what? My wife's not doing it for me. I'm going to go get some on the side, but I have to do it somewhere else. It blows my mind how stupid you can be. Goodness. I say this all the time in these situations. I commend to the highest degree the people that do what's right for ethical and moral reasons. But even those people that do the right things, but they really don't care about ethics and morals and other people, but they just simply understand what's best for them and protect themselves, and therefore they do what's right, only not for themselves, not for anybody else, or for the sake of doing what's right, but they just do it for themselves. He didn't even have the discipline to be selfish and keep the best job he's ever going to have. He could have 10 lifetimes and he will never be the Michigan head coach or have a similar position. I'm always conflicted by how rarely people allow room for redemption. Again, that's a deep matter right there. Nobody deserves redemption. That's the point of redemption. I love when people make comments about people deserving forgiveness. Well, they deserve forgiveness or they don't deserve forgiveness. Well, nobody deserves forgiveness. That's the point of it. That's why it's forgiveness. You don't deserve it. Yes. Redemption's available to him. That's up to him. That is up to him in a spiritual context. Now, what's up to him in society, that remains to be seen. We appreciate Adam stopping by. Thank you so much for the super chat contribution. All right. Here we go. We've got 12 minutes and we've got 5 calls. All right. 2+ minutes. We've got David, what's going on?
Really light news of college football this week, Mark. Has there been anything going on this week? In the coaching carousel.
I've taken extra naps this week.
I haven't heard, by the way. Is any teams fired any coaches, or has anything happened on that front? I think I've been living under a rock, right, Mark? I'm kidding. I digress.
I'm thinking that your opening line would have worked better at the top of the show, or maybe like 2 days ago or something like that. But that's what I've been talking about for the last 40 minutes. So
I tried to get in last night, and Darrell took a lot of my material so far. So I got to be real with you, Mark.
We had a bit of for anybody watching last night, we apologize. Just the internet just went on me, and I could never get back on.
Okay. So the most corrupt program in college football ceases to know no bounds when it comes to bad behavior. If they want to continue to do whataboutism, which seems to be their shtick, and compare this to Tattoo Gate or compare this to Zach Smith, let them try. Let them try. I think they've lost the moral high ground because, when it came to the Stallion situation, when it came to other situations, I always hear a lot of whataboutism from that crowd. What about this? Or what about that? Or what about your thing? And it's the lowest form of trying to defend what you've done is to do whataboutism. Now, I have to say, I feel for the guy's family. I feel for the guy's kids. I'm going to stipulate that right now, Mark.
Sure.
I'll stipulate that. I do not feel for him. I have no remorse for him. He is a man in his late 30s. He needs to be personally accountable for his own actions. He used his power. By the way, I never thought in years I would hear Mark Rogers use the term swag. I thought that term was a little bit before your time there, Mark. Got to be real with you.
Well, it's certainly in my time.
Okay.
Am I like, should I be in a rocking chair? Is my time past me? I think I'm in my prime right now.
Well,
no, I do not use the word swag very often.
What
came out of my mind.
Yeah, I didn't think that was in the Rogers vocabulary. It got to be.
Because I'm thinking, even if he is the biggest dork with women imaginable, he's the Michigan head football coach and he makes $10 million a year. That does the work for him.
Yeah, it all of a sudden makes you look good. I've seen some college football coaches with some wives that where they've really outkicked the coverage. I've got to be real with you, Mark.
They didn't outkick the coverage. Their salary and their position outkicked the coverage.
Sure, finance gets the romance, Mark. It's the oldest line in the history of lines. It's got a lot of validity to it. But in any case, I think what we saw here was quite simply a guy that abused his position. Now, what I wonder, well, first of all, any truth to the fact that Dave Portnoy and Larry Ellison's woman are going to tidy up some funds to bail him out or put towards his legal defense fund? Any truth to that? I don't know. Are there rumors about that, Portnoy? Maybe, I hear that they're the benefactors up there. I don't know.
I've never heard anything come out of Dave Portnoy's mouth of value. I think the guy is a complete, I'll withhold because I've heard very little. I try to stay away. I didn't even know who the guy was until about 1.5 years ago because I've never watched his product. I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've stumbled into clips. But he acts like a complete ass all the time. Everything I've ever seen him say or do is just trolling. I hope he's doing that intentionally to market himself. If he truly believes those things that he says, then he is a complete idiot.
Well, I mean, you know what? He is a supporter of that program, so it kind of maybe goes hand in hand, I guess. But I digress, Mark. Will you be making an appearance at the mental institution this week? I mean, the Steve Deace podcast. Is that scheduled?
Steve has given me the rest of the year off.
Oh, wow.
And with that, David, we are way over.
How's that for timing? Okay.
For the rest of these folks.
All right, Mark. Well, it's going to be an interesting coaching search. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely, David. Thank you. All right, here we go. We got Dr. C stopping by. Dr. C, what's going on? Oh, this is Pitt. Pitt, what's going on?
Hey, Mark, how are you feeling tonight, buddy?
Oh, I'm feeling fantastic.
Outstanding. Hey, I just wanted to throw in a little public service announcement while we're throwing all the love at our Army and Navy fellas.
Yes.
Listen, this time of year is a hard ride for not just us veterans, but a lot of people around us. And when you see someone ain't quite right the past month or so, maybe take them to the side and hug them up a little bit, pat them on the butt. I'm just saying it's a tough time of year, and we need to do that. This needs to be a season of empathy. I feel bad for my Michigan brothers that have to go through this. We don't create this in our programs. We don't. We're just the fans. And the players didn't create this. The coach, well, most of the coaches didn't create this. Yeah, it's just an ugly situation. And let's try to conduct ourselves with a little bit of empathy, maybe. I know I'm the last guy you would expect to hear that from, but let's try, folks.
No, it's a great word, because I have seen a zillion of classless posts from rival fan bases, one in particular that is taking advantage of a situation. As you said, it involves one person. Now, this program has been off the rails in a lot of ways for 5 years, but this particular incident obviously involves the transgressions of one guy. Now, if he was like the linebackers coach, that would be one thing. It would be a story. We'd still talk about it a little bit, but they just go get themselves another linebackers coach, and it wouldn't be. So he just happened to be the head coach, and here we are. But it's a black mark against the program. Another one.
As a Michigan fan, I got to feel for these people. I mean, as a Nebraska fan, we've been through our ugly incidences here and there, and never mind what happens on the field, which has also been ugly. But yeah, it's just the families, the kids, man, let's reel it in, folks. Come on now. It's Christmas.
Yeah, well, regardless of whether it's Christmas, we should have empathy for our fellow human beings. And of course, most of us are thinking mostly about his wife and his children.
Oof. Yeah, I'm just using Christmas as leverage.
I understand. I totally get it.
Other than that, I got nothing for you, Mark. Well, Adam's a jerk, and we should all talk trash about Adam because it's just fun. Other than that, I got nothing else for you tonight, Mark.
Well, I appreciate you being here, Pitt. You have yourself a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, have a Merry Christmas, Mark, and to all in the crowd, y'all have a Merry Christmas too, and reach out and hug somebody that doesn't look right. All right?
And a Merry Christmas to you as well. That is good recommendation for all of us. Absolutely. I will make one adjustment to that concerning patting folks on the rear end. For me, that involves a female at a time, one significant other at a time, not multiple, just one at a time. If we get to that point, guys, we could talk about that. Is that like, a pat on is that like second date, fourth date? When does that? Anyway. All right. Dr. C, what's going on?
What's going on, Mark? How are you doing tonight?
I am doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, so obviously the topic of the week has been Michigan. So here was a name, I was just running a search, and here's a name. Actually, I have two names that I really like. I don't see happening, but I think would be perfect for the program. And I wanted to see what you thought.
You're on, Dr. C.
Oh, okay. Could you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are they? I didn't hear their
Um,
names yet.
so the first, I think Dabo Sweeney. Dabo Sweeney would be a perfect fit. I mean, the negative to him is that Dabo seems to want to do everything pre-NIL, pre-transfer portal, right? He's stuck in the past, right? That's his one knock. But don't you think someone with the environment that Michigan has, that's toxic, bring in someone that has a lot of character and has shown to be a good leader?
All right. So first point would be, yeah, Dabo Sweeney. I know he has his critics and detractors, but from my view, granted, I will not vouch personally for anyone I don't know. Who knows? We could find out something about Dabo Sweeney tomorrow. So obviously those things are possible. But based on everything that he's shown us, he is my favorite football coach in America. He is my number one. It's not even close. He is my favorite football coach in America. I love Dabo Sweeney. He does not seem like a match for Michigan football. Let's also understand, yes, so he would bring honesty, integrity, faith. He would also bring a community type atmosphere to Clemson. Clemson is going to play a meaningless bowl game this year, and that has been their plight pretty much since 2021. They did play in a BCS game, or a whatever they call them now, major bowl game, and they played in the playoff last year. But these other disappointing seasons, his players come back and they play. The seniors, the guys going to the NFL, they play in bowl games. That shows you that they have respect for him, and he's built a culture there that is rock solid. So that would be good for Michigan. As soon as I mention the term faith, though, I'm thinking that's a dichotomy of epic proportions. Michigan is a liberal university, diabolically opposed to Dabo Sweeney's beliefs. I don't know if he could separate that. I don't know if they could separate that. He's going to talk about his faith. He's going to be up front. He's going to mention it at press conferences, on the field after the game. Now, Jim Harbaugh did the same thing to a certain extent. I don't know if that's going to fly at the University of Michigan, but they better know it if they hire him. I just don't see that guy coaching in the Big Ten or for a university in the North. He just doesn't seem like a guy that's going to leave the ACC or the SEC.
You're 100% right, Mark. But again, Stanford plays in the ACC, and so does Cal, right? So what
Yeah,
what
they
are we
didn't move
knowing?
their campus, though.
Yeah. So no, you're 100% right. The other guy that came to mind is David Shaw. I think he is a phenomenal coach. If I could play for any three coaches that in college football, it would be James Franklin, Pete Carroll, or David Shaw.
Interesting. All right. So let me say one last thing about Dabo Sweeney. I apologize. I should have remembered this because you did bring up the transfer portal and the NIL. Okay. Dabo Sweeney obviously did not press into the transfer portal. Now, in terms of NIL, he's not opposed to NIL. I think probably he is personally opposed to it, but obviously he cannot operate outside of NIL. Clemson is paying players just like everybody else, or otherwise they'd be going 1-11. So they are paying players. He's probably not the guy that's going to be out front begging and pleading for money like Lane Kiffin. So no, he is not going to be the champion of NIL, but he understands that he needs money to pay players. So I don't think he's opposed to. He just knows that that's one of the drawbacks to the gig now. Now, in terms of the transfer portal, Clemson used the transfer portal more than people realized this past offseason. They got their best defensive end from Purdue from the transfer portal, picked up one of their best wide receivers from the transfer portal. So I think he wanted to see, how is this going to function? And unless I see some gaping need on my team, I'm going to recruit, develop, and try to do it my way. And I think he's realized that, okay, you can't quite do it that way because you just can't keep up with the number of players and the experience and production that these players have shown at the collegiate level versus high school recruits. Like, you need to supplement. So I think he's fine with that. I know I've heard comments from him just in the last couple of weeks. He's just emphasizing that we are still going to be a recruit, sign, and develop program, but we understand we need to fill needs and approach it like NFL free agency. David Shaw. Yes, David Shaw. Now, David Shaw looks like a fit for Michigan. Now, I don't know about David Shaw in terms of anything, in terms of his own beliefs or politics or anything. I don't think that that's going to get in the way. He's never stated anything that I know of that's egregious or out there or draws him to one side or the other like a Dabo Swinney does. So, yes, I can see David Shaw coaching at the University of Michigan. Absolutely. And he's always been so well respected for his integrity, his character, his intellect. Yeah, I can see David Shaw. I've got a list of like 25 guys, and I do not have David Shaw on that list, but he is going to be added to that list thanks to you. That's an intriguing candidate right there.
I think he's phenomenal. I mean, and look what he did at Stanford. Granted that towards the end of his stay there, like every coach runs runs out. But he didn't have the recruiting, right?
The performance, because he walked into a phenomenal situation given to him by Jim Harbaugh, ironically,
Yes.
And he maintained it. Let's see, 2012, 13, 14, 15. They were tremendous, top 5 in the nation. Then 16, they started to slip. 17, 18, they were still good. 8-4, good. And then,
was it COVID that kind of did him in? Or did he leave at 19?
Unless somebody, no, he coached through, what was his last season? Anyway, his last like 4 years were awful.
Yes. But then again, the requirements to enter Stanford, right? It restricts their ability to recruit, right?
Well, why they win all those Rose Bowls and go to all those top 5 finishes?
No, it can't be done. But it's a lot
around it.
It's a lot easier to recruit Michigan than Stanford for football.
Sure. And I understand that excuse, but it rings a little hollow for me when it's been proven that it can be done. So between 2009 and 17, for a good 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, and I mean, every coach has his run, kind of like Dabo. It kind of looks that way potentially at Clemson, right? And he's still a phenomenal coach, right?
Potentially. I'm not going to give up on him yet, but potentially, yeah.
One of the names, and I know you got another caller, one of the names that really bothers me that people call out because he has too much integrity, that I believe, is Matt Campbell. He's not leaving Penn State.
I hope not. I don't believe so either. Who says that Michigan's a better job than Penn State at this point anyway? Historically it is, but right now?
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, they have more money, don't they?
Yeah,
NIL
that's
money?
true. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
It's a little shinier brand, yeah. But hey, you know what? You can always come back. I mean, there's still, look at Sharon Moore, there's time away. He deals with his demons. he can come back. Bobby Petrino came back to Arkansas, Mark,
Yeah.
under
Whoa,
very
whoa, whoa, whoa,
similar
whoa, whoa.
circumstances. Well, you know, he
Mm.
hired this volleyball player. Then he gave her money, $25,000 apparently, which he was having a relationship with, which then leads to his attack, aka motorcycle accident.
Yes. Well, unless it can be proven that he threw her off the motorcycle, I'm not going to compare what he did to Sharima
Oh,
Moore.
okay. I didn't hear the rest. I've only followed day one, so all I
Okay.
know is that he was having an affair. I didn't follow
Oh,
the
no, no,
rest.
no, 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 no. It got
Oh,
violent.
oh no, that's not good. That's
No,
definitely
he's
not
chasing
good.
people with knives and threatening people to kill them and himself. And
Oh
yes,
boy,
yes. And
that's a tough one. Has anything
stalking
like this?
and invading. And yes.
Can you think of anything in the past that this has happened
Oh,
where
good
the
Lord.
person saved their career, saved their, change? No, I don't think so, right? In any sport? This sounds pretty horrible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like coming back. Hey, he's coming back. He got help. It's been 10 years. He's a model citizen now.
He's a young
And
guy.
yeah, he's 38, I think.
I have no issue with that, but that should be the
Yeah.
last thing on his mind. Like
No,
this
because
guy needs to just, oh my word. I was going to say needs to be taught how to, or completely an overhaul of his psyche on how to treat people. Even like he needs to start how to, like, he probably thinks about himself. Just start there. Like there is so much to unravel there psychologically that needs help.
Well, you know what? I know someone that had serious mental health issues, where I really thought they were gone, and they went into treatment, got help, and they're back to normal. Out of which I thought they were, during COVID. They had like a psychotic mental breakdown, right? So maybe this guy's dealing with some unresolved issues, obviously, but I think there's hope for even the worst.
Oh,
Thankfully, no one got hurt, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, let's pray for him, his family, the victims, and everyone,
So the only
and
thing
hope
I
the
will say
best.
about that, and I am far from an expert on this by any stretch, but I listen to a lot of different topics that are related to this, spiritual and otherwise. When I hear about people that have gone through emotional and mental anguish that have brought them to the point of heavy depression or where they're suicidal,
Hmm.
they're typically not violent toward others. It's all internal. They feel horrible about themselves. They feel they have no hope. And it's all internalized in terms of that. That's most of what I've heard of. Again, this is what I've heard from having conversations and hearing this. And I apologize to the next two callers. We're way over time. So yeah. Um,
Yeah,
I
no, sorry,
rarely
got
hear these.
sidetracked up.
I rarely hear these. Whether the story ends sadly that the person took their own life, let's say, or I've heard many stories of redemption where they've come to mental and emotional health. That
Yeah, this is probably the
I
worst.
rarely hear the component of like the threatening other people. Now,
Right.
obviously that exists. He's not the only one that's ever done this, but I'm just talking about in terms of just simply being emotionally and mentally. There's a hint, more than a hint, a large hint of narcissism there.
Mm-hmm.
Like he thinks he
Yeah.
can do anything. Doesn't
Has there?
matter who he hurts, who he harms. Yeah.
Do we have any example of redemption where this person, like in the past for sports, did something like this and then came back, got help and came back and coached again? Maybe not at the same place. I can't think of anything now that you say it, right? I don't think we have an example of this, thankfully. Yeah.
Granted, when these things were going on years and years and years ago, obviously there was not the social
The
media
internet.
or the news cycle, but I would still think it would be documented, of course, in the history of news and information in
Well,
college
you've
football.
got to think that there's been some like coach or whatever, and there's a lover, and he hates them, and it gets messy, and he gets fired, and then they get help and come back, right?
Yeah.
No.
I keep a better track of bowl game history in
Yeah,
my head than those sorts of things. And
I hear
I
you.
don't know that we've come across this.
Yeah. All right,
Although
Mark.
again,
Well,
it's not uncommon in society.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it's not uncommon in society.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'll leave you with this. I honestly think for Michigan, they should go with Dillingham, and I'll leave you with that.
All
The
right.
other callers need to come in.
Thanks,
All
Dr.
right.
Steve.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Again, unfortunately, we are way past time and I can't take these last two calls. So, John and George, I apologize, but I have got to go. Appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. I don't know what our Saturday looks like in particular. We will look at the Army-Navy game, hopefully, and also the bowl game with Washington and Boise State, whether those are live streams or instant analysis in some form. And we will see you very soon.